Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Banpresto Monster Roar Attack Series Gamera 1995. Now, it's a shame that we didn't get any new Bandai Movie Monster Series Gamera figures last year for Gamera's big 60th anniversary. I feel like it would have been at least a pretty good opportunity to make a new movie monster series like Barugan, or even like Gamera 1966 and 67, to go along with the 4K remasters of, the first three Showa era Gamera movies. I think that would have been great to see, but we still got some cool stuff like this figure here, as well as a really expensive SH Monster Arts Legion. Again, I can't get over that price tag. I've never seen an SH Monster Arts figure retail for over $500. It's just insane to me, but I digress. Anyway, this version of Gamera comes from the 1995 film Gamera Guardian of the Universe, and I gotta say, I love Gamera Guardian of the Universe. I think it is a very good movie. The 90s trilogy as a whole, I definitely think are some of the best kaiju movies ever made, but, as far as Guardian of the Universe goes specifically, it's still a really good movie. I love the soundtrack, the special effects. There are some, bits that are a little dated. There's, this one, green screen shot that doesn't look particularly good, but, the miniatures and, the suit work and everything like that is phenomenal here. Just really good stuff. I really like the fast-paced, storytelling here. It doesn't feel rushed, it feels natural, but, things are just, constantly moving, which, to be fair, me saying that probably sounds like a bad thing, but, in this movie's case, it is a good thing. It feels natural, and it's going. It has a really nice pace to it, and overall, it is just a very solid movie. I will say I like, as far as the 90s trilogy goes, I prefer Gamera 2 and Gamera 3. Most people say Gamera 3 is the best in the trilogy, and for me it's a toss-up between Gamera 2 and Gamera 3. I think they are both just really good movies, Gamera 2, I think, has, the better, spectacle. I think, the practical effects in that movie, I think, are better, but I think Gamera 3 has the much stronger narrative, so, for me, it's a toss-up between those two movies as far as, my favorite in the trilogy. But Gamera Guardian of the Universe is still a very good movie, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you check it out. So, yeah, I have been rambling on for far too long now. Let's just get into this. Like usual, to start, we'll take a look at the paint, and the painting on this figure, I think, looks good. So as you can see, pretty much the entirety of this figure is going to be casted in this charcoal gray, which I think looks really nice. The toenails and the fingernails here, at the base, they're going to be painted brown, but then they're gradually going to turn into this yellowish color, which I think looks nice. The plaster on here, I think, looks a little messy. First of all, it's not entirely painted. You can see, at the top and bottom here, there are, some bits that aren't fully painted. But also, just the color they chose, I just think looks a little weird. This, really dark, glossy brown. I don't know, I think I prefer the colors that the Movie Monster series figure went with, but, life moves on. The carapace here looks nice. We do have some green bits here, but it would have been a little nicer if there was just, a tad bit more green. This still looks nice, but, a little bare too, so, again, just, an ever so slightly, more amount of green here would have been nice, but I digress. Going to the head here, we can see that the tusks here, or fangs, whatever you want to call them, again, just like with the nails, they start off brown, but then they turn into this yellowish coloration, which looks nice. The teeth on this figure, I will say, I think the teeth look fine, but I will say that when I saw, in-hand images of this figure, I saw the teeth, and I got very nervous, because, in those pictures, the teeth looked very sloppy. But on this figure, or at least my copy in particular, I can assure you that the teeth actually do not look that bad. Do they look perfect? No. But, for what they are, I think they're painted, they look okay. The inside of the mouth here is going to be painted this pink coloration, which looks nice. It would have been nice if the mouth had a glossy finish, but it's, not a big deal. I don't really care. The eyes here are going to be painted white with green pupils. And that's pretty much it for the painting on this figure. And for what it is, I think the painting on this figure is alright. I think the painting on the promo images of this figure looks better, but like the final figure, I still think looks okay. So overall, I'd say the painting on this figure gets 3/4 of a pass. All these Banpresto figures have no articulation what to speak of. They're usually just like, little like affordable statues. So we're just gonna just completely skip the articulation here, and we're just gonna get right into the sculpt. And the sculpting on this figure, I think looks very nice. I think the sculpting here captures the likeness of Gamera, from Gamera, Guardian of the Universe, very well. The proportions here look good. Nothing looks too big or too small or anything like that. Like everything here looks really nice. I also really like the more like slim proportions on this figure compared to the movie Monster Series figure that was just more wide, where this figure is just like a little more like thin. And I like that. So yeah, overall, the sculpting on this figure I think looks very nice. So the sculpting here, I'd say definitely gets a pass. Now, we'll take a look at the detailing. And the detailing on this figure, for the most part, I think looks good. Starting off at the head here, we can see all of, like the scales and all of, like the ridges on the face here. I think looks really nice. The detailing here looks really good. As you can see here, around the eyes, there are very noticeable seams, and that is because for some reason, I don't know why, they made the eyes on this figure separate pieces from the rest of the head, which makes absolutely no sense to me. There are other seams on this figure too, like the jaw here has a seam, which that makes sense because you have to model the jaw and everything like that. So this I'm fine with. And even at the neck here, again, like at the assembly line, just like putting the head on the body, like again, that's like fine and understandable, and also it is like really well hidden there. But the eyes here, I have no idea why they made them like separate pieces, because again, it just leaves this very like noticeable seam on each eye. It's just, why? It doesn't look outright awful in person, but like it's still noticeable enough to where it's like it's distracting. So again, I don't understand why they made the eyes like a separate piece from the rest of the head, but I digress. Going to the arms here, we do have a lot of really nice detailing here. All of like the wrinkles and all the creases and everything are detailed very nicely. Everything here is very nicely defined. And same with the legs here. Just a lot of really nice detailing here. Again, a lot of really nice musculature. And all of like the creases and wrinkles here are detailed very nicely. Going to the plastron here. Yeah, there's a lot of really nice detailing here. All of, like the ridges and all of like the cracks and everything for the plastron here just looks really nice. Just a lot of really nice detailing here that I am a pretty big fan of. Going to the tail here, all of the creases and wrinkles at the bottom half of the tail looks really nice. Everything here is defined very nicely. The top of the tail, all of the scales here, I think look really nice. Going to the plastron here. Again, just a lot of really nice detailing here. Just like all the ridges and everything are detailed very nicely. All of the bits of detailing just pop like beautifully. And again, just a lot of really nice detailing here. And because I forgot to talk about it, the inside of the mouth here has some nice detailing as well. It's a little hard because of the lighting, but there is some nice detailing in there as well. And that's pretty much it for the detailing on this figure. And overall, the detailing here, I think is nice. There we go. I think the detailing here is really nice. Like it's just, the noticeable seams around the eyes are just very distracting to me. Like, I feel like they could have, like, touched up that a little more. Or, why just make them separate pieces at all, for that matter? Just make them attached to the actual, like, head itself. It's just, I don't get it, And even on, like, all of the promo pictures for this figure, like, it's still there, but it doesn't look as noticeable as it is here. And in person, to be fair, it doesn't look that bad, but it's still just, like, one of those weird things where it's like, why? Why design it like that? But I digress. Still, though, the detailing on this figure I still think looks nice. So, overall, the detailing on this figure, I'd say gets 3/4 of a pass. Now, we'll do some size comparisons. To start, here we have the Bandai Movie Monster Series Gamera 1995. And just to talk about, just really quickly, what I was talking about earlier, first of all, the plastrons here, I just prefer how it looks here rather than on this figure here, I like the brighter colors, and I like how everything, is like properly painted, where here, it just looks a little sloppy. But the one thing I like more about this figure is I like the more, like, narrow proportions, where this figure is just properly just, like, round. So, yeah, that's sort of what I was talking about earlier, but just to bring it up. Here we have the SH Monster Arts Gamera, 1995. Here we have the SH Monster Arts Gyaos, 1995. And, of course, here we have some hand sanitizer. And here we have Dr. Billy Grant. So at the end of the day, should you get this figure? Despite its flaws, I still really like this figure. I think the painting still mostly looks great, the sculpting is great, and the detailing is mostly great. Again, I just don't understand, like, the seams around the eyes. Why would you design your figure to have that? I don't get it, but anyway, still, this is just a really nice figure, and I do recommend that you pick it up, though walk, don't run to get this figure. Now, as far as price tags go, this is a little bit complicated, because at least in Japan, all of these, like, Banpresto statues of not, like, just this figure, but also all of, like, the Godzilla and Ultraman stuff, and also, like, all the anime statues that they've done, you normally don't buy them, right? You don't buy them in stores the way you do with, like, Movie Monster Series figures or SH Monster Arts figures. You usually have to win these figures. These figures are usually in, like, UFO, I think, UFO claw machines. I think that's what they're called. I could be wrong, but you do actually have to win these figures. Technically, you can still buy them at, like, aftermarket prices and stuff like that, but when these figures first come out, you usually, like, just have to win them. And depending on how many tries you take, that can vary. I think someone was able to win this figure, I thought I heard for, like, 1,000 yen, which roughly translates to, like, $6.30, give or take, which, for this figure, that is definitely worth it. Like, $6, hell yeah, that price tag is, this figure is worth that price. But, like, it all just depends on, like, the different tries you have. But, I'm an American, so I bought this figure from the Crunchyroll store, and I paid about, like, a little over $30. Now, going from $6 to $30, like, sure, that's a little bit of a jump in price, but I'm honestly totally fine. I was fine paying the $30 for this figure because, again, I really like this figure. The promo images looked better, but still, like, the final figure still looks nice. I'm also just really hungry for Gamera merch. Last year was Gamera's big 60th anniversary, and we didn't really get a whole lot. We got the SH Monster Arts Gamera 1996 and the SH Monster Arts Legion, as well as a couple of, like, other, like, Banpresto, like, Enshrine Monster Series figures, which I did pre-order those. I'm still waiting for Big Bad Toy Store to, get them in stock and ship them. But yeah, we didn't really get a whole lot outside of that. I know we had, like, the Gamera X-Well that was really cool, and, like, we did get some Gamera content, but as far as, like, figures went, like the Movie Monster Series line or just, like, stuff like that, it's like, I wish we gotten a little more, but we still got this figure for, like, an okay price. So I'm happy with this figure. I do have other, like, Banpresto, like, Godzilla figures and Ultraman figures and stuff like that. So, like, if this video does well, I will go and, review them. But I just want to, like, review Gamera first, because I really want to make a Gamera video, because it's been a somewhat long time, and I also just really, like, I was just hungry for Gamera figures. So, yeah. Anyway, I have been rambling on for far too long now. That is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, Zack out.